Good morning, friends and family. Chaplain Joe here with your Ministry Minute. I know I had mentioned yesterday I found all my writings from early in recovery. This one I didn't date, but this one I found to be a really good one. It's May 27th. It's I believe 2021, but I don't know for sure. 12 stepping with power in the proverb. The refining pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, and a man is valued by what others say of him. And step 8 was made a list of all persons we have harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. The verse from the proverb is a tightrope. What I mean is we have to be careful in listening to what others have to say about us. Criticism can be a good thing as long as it is used to help and not hurt or tear someone down. Growing up in a home with negative criticism about yourself and everything around you will shape you into a doomsday preacher. For a long time, my life was directed by whatever anyone else had to say. My everyday was lived with everything will go wrong, everyone is out to get me, and life will not get any better than this. When working step 8, you must include yourself first. For a long time, my thinking was, I am okay, and everybody else was screwed up. You catch that? There's nothing wrong with me, everything's wrong with you. Honesty with yourself will start the healing process, and eventually folks around you will eventually only have good things to say about you. Do not let your negative thoughts or someone else's negative words and thoughts determine your destiny. Your life can and will get better. You got to have faith and be willing to do the work to make change. I love that, man. And it really started getting me to thinking that life and death lie in the tongue. And it's so this verse is so true. And people are judged by what others say about you. Look at when you get a job, and you go to an interview and they call for references, right? And they want to hear what other people have to say about you. So I guess the question today for you is this. One, ask yourself the question, what will others say about you when you're not around? I always like to think to myself, I wonder what my obituary will say. I know it sounds a little morbid, but I will have an obituary one day. And I'm just curious as to what my family members will write in that obituary. Oh, he was a good man, or he was a bad man, or, well, they're going to say something good because they don't want to slander you at the end of your life. But I really would like to be able to see what people have to say that know me on a personal level. And it mentioned there that we have to be careful. Okay, it's important that our value is measured by what other people say about us, but we got to also keep in mind that people are spiteful, people are vengeful. There's going to be people that are going to talk bad about us, negative about us, especially people who dislike us. That's going to happen, and the Bible teaches that life and death lie in the tongue, and that no man can control it. It says that the tongue is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. It talks about James that it describes the tongue as a rudder, right? A rudder that guides a ship, or it talks about the tongue being a bridle on an animal to control. And the reason it's saying that is because your tongue will set the course of your life. And that's what that's saying here towards the end here. Don't let negative thoughts or words from someone else determine your destiny is what it's trying to teach us. And, they made a list of all persons we had harmed. We need to try to really dig deep and reflect on our past, reflect on our future, reflect on how our childhood has shaped us and made us the people we are today. And then we need to look at all the people around us. Now, when I was, before I met the Lord and I was trapped in my self-medicating ways, I was a very angry, very negative, very, not a nice man at all in any way. So, there was quite a few people in my path that I had hurt with my words, with my negative thoughts, with my craziness, if you want to put it that way. So try to take into consideration too. I know we're covering a lot of different things here, and the main thing I want to focus on is the tongue. But the proverb is saying the refining pot is for silver and the furnace is for gold. I want to look at that for a minute. You put silver in gold, you put gold in a furnace and silver in a refining pot to get out the impurities, right? And that's basically what God's going to do in your life. He's going to put you into these situations so that he can get the impurities out of you, or to get the impurities out of things that have happened in your life. And that's the important part about, step 8 and getting to step 8. And that's the beautiful part about the steps is, as you surrender, you turn it over to God, you get a fearless moral inventory of yourself, you make amends. This is what we call recovery, cleaning house. And you clean house because you want to get all the garbage and all the junk out of the heart, right? Is what you want to do. And you want to make room for all new stuff. The word teaches to renew the heart and transform the mind. That's what all of this is talking about. And if you don't have, a guidebook, you do. Well, you might not pick it up, and that's the Bible. That's your guidebook. That's your playbook. That's your instruction manual, basically. And the steps along with that, along with the Proverbs and the Psalms, will reshape your destiny. All the negative things that you have said about yourself, and all the negative things that people have said about you, especially in your childhood growing up and as you're going through life, those words will stick to you like glue. Sometimes I'd prefer you punch me in the face because a bruise will heal. But it's funny how a negative word penetrates the heart. That's why it's called a dart. That's why it's called the enemy's darts. The dart, it penetrates and it sticks in there, right? And the dart will stay stuck in there until you pull that dart out. Well, that's a lot like a word, a negative word. So every time you throw a negative word, you're throwing a dart, the fiery darts of the enemy, right? And those words are sticking. Now, especially if you have I grew up in a home. I love my mother and father. My mother and father, great God rest them both. But they were always so negative. Everything was negative. Everybody was out to get them. You couldn't trust anybody. You couldn't. I said this before about myself that I had that thinking, and all of those negative thoughts and all of those negative words were like darts into a young child's heart and mind, and it shaped me. It shaped me into the man I was, and because my life was so focused on the negative that I wound up going to the world to fix that negative thinking. And if you're thinking negative, your life is going to be negative, and everything in your life, your outcome, what you produce in your life is going to be negative, and it's going to be hopeless, and it's going to be sad, and it's going to be depressed, it's going to be angry, it's going to be worried, it's going to be fearful, it's going to be insecure, all of those things, and it's going to take basically strangle the life out of you, and you're going to get to the point where you're going to be so far down and hopeless because of all of that, all of those darts. So we've said a lot, we've covered a lot. The point is don't let other people's negative words and negative thoughts get stuck. You're going to need Christ's help. You're going to need God's good word. You're going to need the help of God. You're going to need the Holy Spirit. You're going to need the 12 steps. They're a great platform. I've said this before and I'll say it again, and they really helped me. I'm looking at these writings from the past, and I'm looking at my life then, and I'm looking at my life now, and there is no doubt at all whatsoever that the path that I took will work. It will work for you. It will work for your life. If you're crying yourself to sleep at night, if you're desperate, if you despair of life and you can't take things anymore, and if you believe all of that negative stuff, all those negative words and all those negative thoughts, and those poison darts are still in your heart, and you're drinking yourself to sleep, and you're popping pills, or you're doing dope, or you're self-medicating because you can't deal with all of that pain. There's a better way, and I found it. Pray, trust, use the steps, read his word, put in the work, man. It works if you work it, okay? And you are not what they said about you. You can be different than that, and you can make that change. And people will find value in you, but you have to find value. It says it right there. You have to find value in yourself. Once you find value in yourself and you believe that you're worth better or you're worth more or you deserve better and you're willing to fight and you're willing to do the work, then I've found the way. Be encouraged today. Put in the work. Know that God loves you.